Hello everyone, happy Monday. We are about 7 minutes from market close. I figured I don't think anything's going to happen that's going to change my tone this video, which is that things still do look bearish. I know we are up about 0.5% or about 2/3% right now on the Nasdaq. We're up about 1/4 on the S&P 500, but we're going to talk about why, and I've said this before, why green does not always mean bullish. Green can actually just confirm the bearishness. And I think the price action from today did just that. So just like we have been doing, I mean, this is just crazy. If you look back at the market, we just constantly gap down, gap up, gap down, gap up. It's just a nightmare. Today, same thing. Market comes in hot this morning. We gap up a full percent on the Nasdaq. We run about 0.5% to the upside, and we just run into a brick wall right here. We run into where these sellers have just been hanging out. Over here, 297 and this 298 level, we cannot get above that, which to me, another lower high, and not just to me, I mean, it's factual that this is just another lower high. We have lower high, lower high, lower high, all followed by lower lows. So the fact that we just put in another big fat lower high, and especially on a Monday, you know, Friday was a nightmare. We gapped down, we just chopped sideways. Monday, you're hoping that maybe things could turn a little bit to the upside. But to me, it looks like it was just short covering. It looks like it wasn't really buying the dip. It was just controlled. We just ripped up, and then the buyers were just gone. It was just poof. You look at the volume, just no buying volume. I mean, there was buying volume early, first half an hour of the day, and then the selling volume just took control. I mean, the sellers just, they owned it. So, not looking great. Looking great if you are bearish, but not looking good for the bulls. If we look at the S&P 500, the S&P looks even worse. I mean, the Nasdaq is just completely holding up the market right now. If it wasn't for Apple and Tesla and like Nvidia, we would be much redder on the whole S&P 500. But same thing, we just get a big gap up, and we just exact same thing: lower high, lower high, lower high. So we just know the demand level or the supply sitting right up here at 401 to 402. That is the resistance to break. If we can't get above that, things remain quite bearish in my honest opinion. We have a sell signal on the system. We got a buy signal. We faded it, bought again, and now it looks like we have gotten that sell signal. And we're kind of just forming this pretty clear like bearish flag. It looks like this trend line we actually just bounced off of, so we're not just going to get yanked straight down. We are bouncing off 397 on the S&P 500. Look at that. The bulls are waking up to close the day. But why so bearish, you ask? Well, because when you gap up and the buyers are just nowhere to be found, the volume is just abysmal, like horrendous. I mean, and this is coming after days and days and days of just selling, high selling volume, and there is just no buyers anywhere to be found. And this daily candle that we have on the S&P 500, just disgusting. If we look at the futures candle, it's even grosser. I mean, huge wick to the upside. Disgusting on the futures. Super low buying volume. If we jump over to Apple, Apple holding up pretty well today, holding up stronger than the broad market. But same idea, just massive wick to the upside. Apple just running back up to that resistance up here at 149 to about 150. So just same thing, man. Just same thing. Look at that, bouncing right off that trend line. Oh my God, look at this beautiful trend line. Holy moly, Apple. That is actually picture perfect, that trend line. So clearly got to break that trend line, and clearly got to make some higher highs on Apple, but same idea, just same idea. Lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. And now it just looks like we're kind of just chopping around in this range. We're chopping 149 to about 146-ish. And you could see where God himself is holding Apple up above this level right here at 146. God himself has buy orders right there, because you can see on Friday we just could not break it. Every time we tap, right straight back up, tap, straight back up, tap, straight back up. So, kind of to be expected a day like today. I said on my video on Sunday, I said, hey, the market right now feels very bearish, but the charts do not tell me that we're just going to go straight down. So I was kind of expecting a bit of a bounce, and this is exactly the like controlled bounce you want to see if you're a bear. This is exactly what you want to see, because it was just not a bounce at all. I mean, it was just nothing. We just came off of lows, we retraced to the upside, and we couldn't even put in a higher high. So pretty much what you want to see if you're bearish right now. Jumping over at Nvidia, just nothing can take Nvidia down right now. We are seeing some selling late into the day, but another just low volume day, low volume selling on Nvidia. And now we have pretty clear where the bears are at on Nvidia. They're holding 238.9, basically 239, let's say. The bears ain't gonna give that up. And why is that so important? Well, if we draw a nice little level right there, we can zoom on out and see. Well, I'll be damned. Isn't that right where the bears took control in the first place? So way over here back in April. So the bears are holding onto where they took control back in April, and we know that sellers are gonna cover those shorts if we break above that 260. So the bears, they know they have to hold this, and they are doing a pretty good job at doing that. But I'm still short on Nvidia. I think we have a lot of downside ahead on Nvidia, but as for right now, it's just kind of consolidating, and dare I say bullishly consolidating on Nvidia. AMD looks better to the downside, just same thing, lower high, lower high, lower high, and now we are back in this little range that I have here. So yeah, AMD, if we get above 80.50, if we get above 81.82, then AMD looks better to the upside. But just another day, it just gapped up and just sold all day, consolidated, sold. That's another thing I got to mention. The volume on the S&P 500 as we go into the close right now, just terrible. I mean, just very weak volume. Not what you want to see if you're like a bull and you're waking up. It's a new week. You know, we got all that terrible inflation news. It's in the rear view mirror now. Now we can look back ahead, and we should be bullish, right? Now that we got all that terrible inflation news out of the way. Well, not so much. We couldn't do anything. The bulls couldn't do anything today, and we just logged a horrendous, like, low volume, mostly selling kind of day. And now it looks like we might go back below that downtrend as well, and it is basically still below that. So looking at the Nasdaq 100 futures hourly, same thing. I mean, we just bear flag. We just had this like picture perfect bear flag. We bounce off lows, we push up, consolidate, we dump after putting in a lower high. We break this trend line, high volume selling. Look at the selling. I mean, look, it's only high volume selling. Look at where the buyers were. No volume. Sellers, all the volume. It's exactly what you want to see if you're bearish. And right now, 12,000 is where we have some demand, where I imagine buyers might step back in. But then below that, we have 1196, and under that 1192, and then that's it. Then after that, we're pushing for new lows on this little pullback that we're in. And I dare say, if we do give up that 200-day moving average, I think we are headed straight for 1171 on the Nasdaq 100 futures. And then if we go below that, man, I'm telling you, we're putting in some new lows on the Nasdaq. I know it's crazy to talk about, man, but things ain't looking hot. Things don't feel hot. You don't like these kind of days when you see it if you're a bull. The VIX, we are just holding on to by a thread, holding on to this $21 level on the volatility index. And that's really what you want to see if you're bearish. We bounced off of it over here. If we start to fade below this, we get below 20, you know, things look much more bullish at that point. But the fact that the VIX faded so much, it fell like 3.5% today when the overall market was only up. I mean, the Nasdaq was only up was like 0.75%. The S&P was barely up 0.25%. I mean, sheesh. That's a big drop for the VIX when the real market isn't actually going up. So it's giving the VIX a lot of room to the upside, which means a lot more room for the grand market to go to the downside. Yeah, I don't know. Not much else to talk about today. Just a pretty standard kind of counter trend day, retracement day, and nothing really changed for me after today. This is going to be a short video, man. I just really don't have a lot to talk about. I mean, it was such a big nothing burger of a day. It's kind of just wild. Everything's just in range. I mean, everything is just bounced off its lows. It's still within range. Tesla is an outlier. Tesla went absolutely bonkers. It defies all logic. So Tesla, it's pretty clear what Tesla's doing right now. We are just trying to hold on to this range right here. That's where the sellers are. They're up here at about 217. And now we know buyers are at like 192. So Tesla, we're just bullishly consolidating near these highs from this rally that we've been in. And that's what I'm seeing on Tesla. Amazon looks terrible. I mean, Amazon just, it has no life. It's crazy. Some of these stocks just can't get anything. Microsoft, same thing, just couldn't get anything going today. So then you have things like Apple, which kind of did, but it's still faded off of its highs on the day. I mean, it went up to about 149. It ended up fading about $1 off of that. So ugly daily candle, ugly volume, terrible. I mean, look at the volume on Apple. This is the lowest volume we've had on Apple since Black Friday. What? That's crazy. This is Black Friday. Since a holiday trading session. I mean, it is bizarro why the volume on Apple is so low. It's weird, very strange in my opinion. I don't understand what's happening. Very low volume on Google as well. Just low volume on everything. Terrible volume on Microsoft. So that helps your bearish thesis a lot when there isn't any, like, I would be worried if we got like a 1% day up, which isn't crazy, but it was on super high buying volume. Then I would be worried. But the volume to me just tells me that the buyers are they're nowhere. They're nowhere to be seen. This was just kind of the sellers. They took their foot off the gas and they try to let the bulls get anything, and they couldn't. So that is what I'm seeing right now. This is a short video. This is the shortest video I've made in a minute. All I ask is if you could just consider to please drop a subscription, drop a subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, drop a like, drop a comment if you enjoyed the video. If you disagree with everything that I said, please drop a comment. I love to hear feedback, even if it's to make fun of me and tell me why I'm wrong about everything. I still appreciate it. But yeah, we'll be back here tomorrow. Hopefully, maybe something actually happens tomorrow that's actually kind of interesting. But today was just a big, just nothing. Just an ugly chop fest. So if you didn't trade today, then you didn't lose any money. Then that's a win for you, I would say, because this was a disgusting price action day. So anyways, guys, I will see you on the next one. Take it easy. This is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. See you later.